Hey, it's springtime. Time to start those garden projects. I made this rustic potting bench for free using old pallets. And it's got plenty of room for potting, and this area over here is a dry sink to keep your soil in. And this is a limited tool project that anyone can make with just a few simple tools and hardly any experience. Check in the description box for a link to download free plans for this bench. In last week's pallet project, I didn't use any of these thicker pieces. They're about 2x4s, so I'm going to use those for the framing. Now the boards for the two rear uprights are 60 inches high. That's longer than any of this pallet wood that I have. But I've got two of these old beat up boards that I salvaged from an old stage set. You could make this entire project using a jigsaw like I did in last week's video, but I decided this week I'm going to step it up a notch and use my circular saw. The jigsaw is probably a little bit more versatile, but the circular saw has more power and will get you straighter, more accurate cuts. A classic method for making a straight square cut on a 2x4 is to line your blade up with the mark wherever you want to cut it, and then take your square and line it up against the base of your saw. And that method works out pretty well, but I find it really difficult to hold the square steady while I'm making a cut, and it's also kind of hard to line up that line each time. One thing you might consider is this little device from Craig. It's called the square cut. With it, you just make a mark wherever you want your cut to be, and then you just line up this piece, which is set for your saw, right on that line where you want it to cut. But you know, really on a rustic project like this, you could probably just draw a line and freehand it and you'd be all right. I've got all of the pieces cut for the top and the lower shelf, and all I'm going to do is make a frame out of it by gluing it and nailing it. I've clamped the board back here so that I have some support while I hammer it together. Okay, there's my two frames. I cut all of the legs for the front and the back, and I'll just attach them one side and then flip it over and attach them on the other side. I decided for this top piece here, I'm just going to let it overhang like that. I've cut out some of the wide boards I'm going to use to build the dry sink. On one side, I just need to build it up a little bit using one of these 2x4 pieces. Over here is where I'm going to use this piece where I attached the 2x4. And that's all there is to the dry sink area. I've cut up a bunch of boards at various widths that I'm going to use for the top. All I want to do is make a notch to go around this upright here. So I'm just going to mark it there, and then I can mark it here. I need to put these three boards together, and they need a cleat on the back side that'll hold it in place. I'm glad I left that opening at the bottom of this so that I can reach in there and draw a line. Okay, so I can flip all of these over, and there's my lines for the cleats. I'm going to use screws to draw these pieces together. For the dry sink, I just picked up this dish pan at the dollar store. And I'm putting this board on the back just to provide a little extra support. And to finish it, I'm just applying a few coats of spar varnish. And that's all there is to the rustic potting bench. Remember, anyone can do woodworking. You can build this project in a weekend. Don't forget to download your free plans to build this project, and if you like this project, subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me over on Facebook and visit my website at woodworkingformeremortals.com. And I'll see you next week.